Hey there, I'm Kat, and this is Brews and Reviews. It's been a while since I've done a vlog, so here's a vlog for the Because We Can readathon. We just finished reading sprints and I am tired because energy is required to do talking, and do I have energy? Is that a thing that I have? Because I don't think it is. Anyway, so I've actually read Every Hard Away. I finished it, the whole thing, in the sprints, which was really good because it's given me kind of like a positive pep in my step for the start of this readathon. And I had forgotten how much I enjoyed that book because I'd forgotten the whole Halls of the Dead Nancy storyline, and how, because it was clearly my favourite bit about the whole book. I'd forgotten. But now I know, and now I remember, and I teared up towards the end, and it made me kind of like, sad. But happy at the same time, because it's a happy thing. So, I enjoyed that. And then I started reading Felix Ever After, and I am 81 pages into this book. Enjoying it so far. It's very queer. Unfortunately, there are a few Harry Potter references, which I could really do without, but I appreciate that this book, I think, came out before, you know. I feel like this one is going to be very hard to read at certain points because I feel like there's a lot of people being judgmental. I feel like it's a lot of people trying to understand sexuality and sort of judging people on sexuality. So it's going to be interesting, and I hope good. Like, I'm enjoying it so far, but enjoying it in the sense that, like, it's good but not happy, if that makes sense. It's also Camp NaNoWriMo, which I decided to take part in at the same time as the readathon because I have 0 brain cells, so I have to do some writing. I'm trying to do 30,000 words, which is, you know, just under 1,000 words a day, and I thought that that would make sense. I'm trying to write book 2 of my novel so that I can sort of get the outline down, and I've pretty much just written like 1,000 words of plot summary at the moment, just because I'm trying to like bash out some ideas, and we'll see what happens with that, but I'll let you guys know. It's like the end of the day and I didn't vlog, and nobody is surprised because kind of awful at remembering to vlog. Anyway, I was quite productive. I finished off Felix Ever After and I ended up really enjoying it. Like, it's a very hard-hitting book in the sense that it makes you think about things like gender identity and how certain people perceive queerness and the LGBTQ plus community. And I feel like it definitely goes into like the negative reactions that people can have, and it's quite hard-hitting in that sense because it's just not fun to read about, is it really? Like, I don't want to read about people being discriminated against. It's not fun. But at the same time, it was an interesting read and I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the end. Even though I was kind of not rooting for that ending the entire way through. But I don't want to spoil the ending. But it was good. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. So as the readathon goes, I've read 1 5-star book and 1 4.5-star book. And I'm feeling super great about it. Still not started Kingdom of Ash, though. Still definitely not started that one. I mean, I will, but just not today. Maybe tomorrow. That Annie prompt is going to be my repeated refrain throughout this entire vlog, I'm sure. Yes, so for now, I have been editing. I've still got 1 video left to edit for the readathon, and it has about 50 minutes of raw footage of me playing 12 different characters, and that's the day 7 video, and it's just so much footage. I don't know why filming me and writing script me decided that they hated editing me, but they really did. So I'm probably just gonna spend the evening doing that and doing some words for NaNoWriMo because that's the law in NaNoWriMo. Anyway, that was my daily check-in because I was bad at doing that. I also tidied my living room and did washing and stuff, so I was not a total waste of space today. So I will be endlessly amused by how terribly some of these wigs fit me, because this just does not go into a wig cap at all. It just doesn't. So I just want to share with you this little bit that I'm editing right now, because I just find it so funny that this particular line and character go with how ill-fitting this wig is on my head. How did I not notice that that's what it looked like? This is just oh well, poor Carden.
I really hope you have a good excuse for arresting a king.
Want to know how bad I am at vlogging? It's Thursday now. So long story short, I didn't do any reading yesterday because I went on a trip to Manchester and did fun things like immersive game box, and it was like the Squid Game version, which was weirdly fun, even though it really probably shouldn't have been, but it was a good time. And we had a Chinese hot pot, which had a like conveyor belt thing, and it was really cool. I've never been in a restaurant that has had one of those before. And then went out for drinks and walking in Pokemon Go, because I still play Pokemon Go because I am awesome. So I didn't really do any reading yesterday, but today I did actually manage to listen to my audiobook and finish off Cress by Marissa Meyer, which wasn't on my TBR for this readathon. Because that's how you do a readathon, right? You put loads of books on your TBR and then read something else. Anyway, I really enjoyed this book. I just thought it was really fun, and I'm glad that I finished it. I have many thoughts and feelings. The end of this book just like hit me in so many ways, and I was just like, with so many things that happened, and I was like, what's happening now? Because I'd just forgotten it all. I've read this book before, I just forgot like half the things that happened, so this was interesting. So I am going to try and do some more reading tonight. I need to do some writing first because I am really behind on NaNoWriMo. I've written every day so far, but not very much. And now I'm outlining chapters for book 2 in the series that I'm working on, and it's not going super well right now. So I'm like, if I can get started on this, and then I can read another book. So I'm reading From Romeo to Juliet, and I am 40 pages in to a 116-page book. So it's really short, but I'm finding it very hard to understand what this actually is. I feel like it's supposed to be in a modern world, because occasionally they'll say things like, oh, his Gran Turismo topless car, or a burner phone. And then they'll be like, oh, well, I wanted to study magic studies at school. And it's a Romeo and Juliet retelling, and it feels very much like a Romeo and Juliet. Like, you know when you read those ones where somebody has adapted the language to make it simple for people to understand, so they don't have to understand what Shakespeare was trying to say? It's like the modern English gist of it. And then occasionally there'll just be someone that says fuck or something, and it's like, well, I'm very confused. What is happening? I'm confused. And if you're wondering why I'm suddenly like flicking my head back over the sofa and staring at the ceiling, it's because my neck hurts, and this is not quite as painful as it was a second ago. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go back to this book. I feel like it's just about to get sexy times, because they just got married by the priest, and like they did their first kiss, and then he was like, oh, I'm going to have you 100 ways, 100 different times. And then the priest was like, listen, Romeo, calm down a bit. Which, because there's a time and place, and maybe don't say that right in front of a priest. It's a bit weird. But yeah, I'm a bit confused by this book. I think it is just supposed to be like a modern retelling, but it's very unclear. Very, very unclear. Just started the next chapter, and how am I 33% through this book and only just learning that she is not a human? She's not a human. She's some sort of Lycarian something or other. I don't know. I haven't read further enough to figure out what that is. But at the same time, I'm like, maybe we could have established any sort of world building. I know it's a novella. It's really difficult, and it is definitely playing on the fact that you know the Romeo and Juliet story, but at the same time, like anything, I don't know that these are like fae. The only reason I knew that there were even like bits of Fae in it were because it said so in the synopsis, and I don't usually read those, so what's happening? No. 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 It just becomes more and more unhinged the more that I read. And there was a little note at the beginning of this book that said, oh, it's all fiction and stuff, and, have safe sex and all that, but like, some of it is just very unhinged. Oh my god, that was very eventful and a stressful time. So Cooper was looking out of his cat flap. Another cat was on the other side of the cat flap. They were looking at each other. They were moaning a little bit, but they weren't too bothered. And then both of the cats got like alerty, and I was like, what are you guys looking at? And then I noticed there was a dog in my back garden, and I don't have a dog. My neighbours have a dog, and my neighbour's dog was in my back garden. And then I was like, oh. So I went to touch the door handle to open the door, and the dog and the cat ran, and then I had to go and get my neighbours, be like, oh, your dog's escaped, and then we ran for the dog because the cat was fine. I saw the cat go away, and then we were like, where's the dog gone? Because there's a road like right outside my house. The dog is fine. The dog is all safe. Both cats are safe. Everybody's safe. I'm just having some sort of panic attack because I need the animals to be safe, and they are, so it's fine. But I'll just calm down on my own time. It's fine. Okay, so I had to go and get my tablet so that I can read this book on it, because the unhinged things were coming just so hard and fast that I needed to react to them, and I couldn't react to them if I'm reading on my phone, because I couldn't read to you the unhinged things that are happening. Because, oh my god, where isn't the book on here? Where's the book? Where are you? I found it. It's fine. So I'm 33% of the way through the book. I'm not sure if I cut out the bit where I was reacting to the fact that all the women lactate. Why do they lactate? What value does that have? I don't understand this race of people with the lactating. Oh yeah, I found where I was. The moaning as a stream of my clear girl cum squirted from my convulsing vagina. Oh dear lord. Okay, so it's time to check in with you guys about my reading for today. I've just finished From Romeo to Juliet by Blue Anchel, and it was truly deranged. Wonderful. You'll see it in a Complaints with Cat video because I had words to say about it. I don't really want to rate it, to be honest, though, because it is, it's an indie book, and I feel really bad about it, but at the same time I picked it up and I read it and I had things to say about it. So, like, there is constructive criticism in my review, but I also don't want to rate it because it's not going to be a good rating, is it? And then that's just mean. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm going to have to sort of ponder on what I'm going to give it, but it wasn't good, so. But it did entertain me, so this is always the quandary, isn't it, with like bad books like that. Also, I started reading Hollowpox earlier on today because I needed an audiobook for work and I was listening to Hollowpox. I listened to about 40 minutes of that audiobook, so I've started it, but that's about it. So I've been crying. As you might be able to tell, I was doing sprints with Abby this morning on the Because We Can Readathon channel, and I finally started Kingdom of Ash, which I have been putting off for a very long time because, I knew it would make me sad. And guess who was right? It was me. I was right. I didn't cry on the stream, though. I got like 220 pages through in the stream, and then I was like, I think I need to pause because I think something's going to happen that's going to make me like very emotional. And then after the stream, I've just read like 50 pages of pure emotional, harrowing hell. And that is why that's why my face is like this now. So I need a break. I wanted to read a lot more of this book today. I've currently read 275 pages today, and it's like a 900-page book, so there's plenty more to come. I just can't read it right now. I need a break after that experience, and I'm hoping that I can get back to it later on today, just to read a little bit more, but like that was very intense. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy teary face Catherine, crying Catherine once again.
readathon is now over and I sucked at vlogging. Who knew that that would be a thing? Everybody knew. So I just wanted to run through a quick wrap up of the books that I read throughout this week. I did manage to complete all of the challenges, but not with the books that I intended to. So let's go through the books that I actually read and the challenges that I counted them for. My notes are a bit confusing because there are a lot of just scribbled out things, but hey-o. So the first book that I read was Every Hard Doorway by Shannon Maguire. This is a reread for me, very small, and I read it in some Because We Can reading sprints, so that was good. That was a great way to start the readathon, and it counted for the regular mode Matilda prompt, which was to read a book, the Wicked prompt, a book with magic, and the Rent hard mode prompt, which is to read a book that starts with either R, E, N, or T. And obviously this one starts with E. Next up I read Felix Ever After by Kaysen Callender. This was a book that I really ended up enjoying. It is a lot of discussion about gender identity. There is a lot of transphobia in here though, so it's not like the most comfortable read, but it was, I want to say enjoyable, but not enjoyable. Parts of it were very enjoyable, and I liked following the story along with Felix and seeing how he sort of discovered himself a little bit more and discovered his art in finding himself, and I just found that that was really interesting and I really liked it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So this one counted for the regular mode prompt for Rent, which was to read an LGBTQIA+ book, and obviously this is trans and very queer actually. There's a lot of like queer characters in here. And this also covered the regular mode prompt for Grease, which was to read a book featuring romance. Next up I finished off Cress by Marissa Meyer. This was sort of a surprise addition to this TBR. I had approximately 2/3 of this book to read when I started it, and it's a chunk, but I really wanted to read it and I read it mostly in like 2 chunks and it was really great and I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. This one counted for the hard mode for Annie, which was featuring a found family, the regular and hard modes for Sound of Music, which was to read a book to net favourite, because the Lunar Chronicles are sort of beloved, or they were in the past, I don't know, I still love them, and to read a book that is set alongside a war. It's kind of a war between the Lunars and the Earthens. It counts. So yeah, that is what Cress covered. Next up I picked up Lumberjanes Volume 3, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars because I did think it was quite basic. This story is a really weird one for me. It's about a group of girls who go to summer camp and they do crazy things and there are monsters and stuff. It just didn't really seem to like do very much in this one. Half the group are doing regular things and trying to earn regular summer badges, while 2 of them have ended up in this sort of dinosaur dimension with a bear lady, but it was alright. So this one covered the hard mode for Matilda, which was to read a middle grade. It was also the book that I had said that I was going to read tomorrow, which is the regular mode prompt for Annie. And then it covered both of the prompts for Into the Woods, one which was to read at night and the other which was to read between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. And I read the whole book after 10 o'clock on one night, so that was good. Then next up we have From Romeo to Juliet by Blue Angel. And I don't want to say too much about this book, but there's going to be a complaints with cat video about it because it was unhinged. So this one covered both of the West Side Story prompts, which was to read a retelling and to read a Romeo and Juliet retelling. Then Kingdom of Ash happened. Kingdom of Ash, which I had left until the last Saturday of the readathon. There were 2 days left to finish it, and I didn't finish it. Of course I didn't finish it. You all knew I wasn't going to finish it. To be fair, this wasn't about finishing it. It was about starting it, because once I've started something, I'm more likely to be able to finish it. So I read 275 pages. I got like that far through the book, which I think is a decent chunk of the book to get through. And emotional things happened, sort of destroyed me a little bit. I cried. It was just a whole thing. So I had to put it down for a little bit, and then I just didn't have time to pick it back up. And I was like, I'm not going to finish it in the readathon, so I'm just going to give it breathing space and then pick it up again and prepare myself for another raking over the coals of sadness and emotion. But yeah, I started it. 275 pages of this book was read in this readathon, and I think that's an achievement for me. It was an achievement for me. So you might be wondering what I replaced that with to get the remaining prompts on the thing, because I also was going to read Hollowpox. I started Hollowpox. I made it about an hour into Hollowpox and I was really enjoying it. I just didn't have time to read it and it didn't cover all of the prompts. So I also put that one down and picked up a book called Flying Witch, which is a manga, and it was a really super quick read and nothing much happens. It's just about a girl who moves away from her home to live with her cousins so she can train to be a witch. A lot of it is new to her because she's moved to the countryside, and it's just cute and fun, and I don't know, I liked it, and I'll definitely read the rest of it as like an easy, nice series. Like, you know how sometimes you just want to read something cute? Like, no thoughts, just cute. That's what Flying Witch is. So just to clarify, that one covered the hard mode prompt for Wicked, which was to read a book featuring witches. And it turns out that that's the only one it covered. I just didn't quite register how many things I'd already said. But yes, so all of the books have been read, all of the challenges have been completed, and I'm very happy with what I read. And the fact that I've started Kingdom of Ash finally, because that needed to happen. So I had so much fun doing the Because You Can Readathon, as I always do. I absolutely love watching people's videos and hearing what people have read and just talking to people about it. So thank you to anybody who decided to join us or get involved in any way. We really appreciate you. And yeah, if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!